So it's raining again. Just a little bit, but no hail this time. No slushy little hail. So I've already got two of them partially welded up. I gotta go all the way around, make them strong and grind the weld a little bit. And I gotta bend the 7/16 end a little bit so it goes above the wires. And I think the turbos, the oil line interferes a little bit, so let's weld up this baby. What do we got here? I need to make the battery higher. Lead. Good old lead acid batteries. Nothing's changed for over 100 years. I watched a video last night. I don't watch too many videos, but I watch the occasional one. Watch a few of my friends. But I watched a video of Jay Leno's, and I watched a few of his. He's pretty good because you realize how well scripted his show is at night, which I never watched, never really did. Used to watch Johnny Carson, but clears his throat a lot, which you're not supposed to do when you're making videos, and cough and chirp and run your hands through your hair. Does a lot of that they don't edit out, which is kind of interesting. You'd think they would. Watch your eyes. Anyhow, the video that I watched was a 1964 Chrysler turbine that he bought from Chrysler, so that makes him, like he said, the original owner. Turbine car with gas regeneration, runs at 20,000 RPM. That was a really good weld. Barely got it. It's quite the interesting video. I'd recommend you watch it. I don't watch any of his videos of new cars. I don't really have any interest in cars till they're 20 or 30 or 40 years old. But I watched the video of steam cars, Doble steam car and the Stanley steamer, which I saw on the Vermont Stove show. And then I enjoyed that one with the steam car, the turbine car rather, last night. 25-minute long video with some archival videos. I want you to be able to see it. It's hard doing a short weld when you're only welding this much. And you got to get it on target. I missed. It's easy to run off target, especially the lenses here get clouded real easy. I go replace them. Only a couple bucks. It's hardly a high strength area. It isn't like it needs tons of welding, but I go all the way around and I grind a little bit. So that's my recommendation. Jay Leno videos. Pretty fancy guy. Tests a lot of stuff and he clears his throat and he rubs his hand against the microphone. They just leave it in there. I was kind of surprised. He could afford any kind of editing crew he wanted. I wonder what he paid for that steam car. A few $100,000. Gotta be. They made 55, I think he said. And Chrysler tested them for a year and they bought them all back and crushed them. Yep, but 2 or 3 of them escaped. They offered them to museums. Museums weren't interested. Too new. What he didn't say in the video that I was thinking the whole time I was watching was that it looks much like a Thunderbird, a 63 Thunderbird. And it's just my opinion. Go watch the video. Chrysler Turbine Car by Jay Leno. And something else he did, which is kind of interesting or off base, was he tested and discussed the Corvair ramp side and the Corsa. He didn't go for a drive, I don't think, in that video. And the other half of the video is vintage snowmobiles. Why would you mix up Corvairs and, of course, air-cooled snowmobiles? I find that kind of odd, but anyways, his channel, he does what he wants, just like me. Alright, I gotta grind those off now. And I got one to ship to Los Angeles after I bend the end a little bit more. I weld them all in the right direction. Yep. Junk. Yeah, make a few bucks. Can't hurt, but I gotta put some effort into it. I don't know why he welds the big end on there. It's useless. I weld on the end for the 64 and up idler. I'll show you where it goes. It's a little warm in my hand, but I'll show you. I gotta unlock the door. Get back to work. Mrs. CW is watching. I got the keys. Keep the doors locked. Don't want any homeless people making a home downstairs. show you what that other end does, the 7/16 end, and I have to thank my friend in Indy because I had to text him and say, hey, I'm at the Chinese tool store. What size is that adjuster again? 64 and up? Right there. 64, pretty sure 64. This is a turbo car. There's the oil line return for the turbos. And it doesn't have the cutout for the 140 for the second carburetor. Turbo oil line return. This came off of the 64 Spider, which engine is now in my Spider, which is a 62. So these are not the proper bolts. They're supposed to have a built-in flange washer head. But anyways, you put this gizmo, don't burn my fingers, down here to loosen the idler, tighten it once you've made your belt tight, which you can do by hand. You don't need any pry bar because you don't want the Corvair fan belt tight. Then you got the guide here that has to be just a hair's breadth, 1/16 of an inch, thickness of a couple sheets of paper away from the belt to stop it from jumping off the pulley if it really even works. Then you use my end of the tool to do this operation. Slide that over and you tighten it. And the reason that I bend it a little bit is because it's awfully close here to the ignition wires. So I bend it a little bit, get it up in the oil line. There's an oil line that runs here off the oil pressure oil pump gizmo in the back of the engine. If this is the back of the car, it's actually this is the back of the engine, front of the engine, back of the car. There's an oil line that comes up here to go to the turbo, and you got to bend it a little more for a turbo because the oil line runs right above here, I think, to the turbo, which is right there. Runs across the top, back of the engine. So I bend it a bit more for the turbo models, but that's what that does. See, swing it this way, you'll whack your fingers on the ignition wires, so I give it a little bit of a bend. And that's the story. Corvair parts. That's off a Corsa. Someone gave me 2 of those, and I lent one to a guy 30 years ago. Never got it back. I actually went to see him. His father still lives in the same house. I asked him, think your son still has my other muffler? I never heard back. Nice, huh? Lend things to people, and he knows where the Corvair parts went. Oh. Here's a piece of my roof. Yep. Our last panel. Junk. Oh well, nothing gets better with age. Yep, nothing gets better with age.